Ikechukwu Okoro, popularly known as Ike Okoro, is our guest today. He is an actor, filmmaker, scriptwriter, journalist, and the writer of the book Nollywood Acting Book. Okoro began his career in Nollywood 2 decades ago and has since starred in several films and TV shows, among which are Wasted Years, Color Me, Papa Ajasco, Super Story, Clinic Matters, Hotel Majestic, The Johnsons, Tinsel, Hush, and many more. He is an alumnus of the University of Nigeria, UNN. Let's meet our guest. I am Ahine Atta, and you're welcome to the guest. I have with me in the studio Mr. Ike Okoro. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you in our studio.
Thanks for having me here.
Yes. So you are an actor, a producer, and a script writer.
Basically, I'll just
still many more.
I'm just a creative person, basically. And for a creative person, you will look for outlets, to just get your creativity across, basically.
But which of these came first for you?
It started with drawing. I like to draw.
Okay.
So what I used to do then was, as a little boy, I would do some drawings, do some paintings. My own idea of a frame, I'll get a nylon, wrap it somehow. When we have visitors who come to our home, I'll just give it to them. I just wanted to share my works. I didn't know that's what they call those things. So,
okay.
So that was what came first for me. That was the first expression of art that I did.
So how did you go into acting?
So as a kid, so kids mostly like to watch TV, kiddies program and all of that. But then I noticed that when I watched kiddies program, it got to a point I began to imagine myself on the other side. So I watched the programs, loved the programs and all that, but I was like, I had this curiosity, that these kids over there that I'm watching, all this was going on in my mind. That who are they? So how do they get to this other side that I'm here watching them? And I was like, why can't I? How do I, be on the other side so that people can also watch me from their homes? Much later in secondary school, much later, I found a schoolmate who I used to see on a program on TV.
Oh.
So it became a link. I just met him. I knew that's why I also want to let people know, go for what you want. So I met the guy. So how do you guys find yourself? How do you go about it, basically? The how question, And he said, okay, you want to be part of it? I said, I want to go. So that was how the guy started to give me.
What did you study, by the way?
I didn't study anything related to arts. I studied political science. I'm a post-science graduate. All the time I was studying political science, it wasn't what I wanted.
Then why did you go for it in the first place?
So your parents want you to study something.
Okay, so you studied political science because of your parents.
I will tell you why. So my father wanted me to study law. I put in for law and all of that. So the cutoff thing? So I didn't meet up with the cutoff. So the cutoff wasn't quite there for me to study law.
So while you were in school, you were still acting and going for these acting gigs?
So while I was in school, I used to buy a magazine called TV Guide, produced by NTA. So what I used TV Guide to do was to feed my imagination. Because in TV Guide in those days, they would always splash movies. It was called Nigerian film industry then. They would talk about Nigerian films, and I would read about films, actors, and I'll keep saying, one day I'm going to act with these people. One day I'm going to work with these people. So I just kept reading that magazine, and any related magazine that has to do with acting. I wasn't acting physically, but I was acting mentally. But then I told myself, okay, if you want to catch fish, you go to where water is and look for, go to a stream or something. So I remember that, okay, if I want to be an actor, I need to go to the arenas where you can find people who are producers and all that, just in my head. So because I had gone beyond kiddies show and all that, so I was watching TV. I was thinking, if I see any audience show, where I can attend, a show where they will need audience, people will come and clap, I'll go. Because there's a probability that I'll find filmmakers there, producers, directors and all that can talk to about my dream and all that. And that was what happened. So one day I was watching TV, and a program came on TV called Sharing with Yemi. Sharing with Yemi was, a beautiful talk show then in AIT. So I used to watch it. So one day they just advertised. They said, okay, they want audience for their show. So if you just put on some good dress, put on some whatever, come around and be part of the audience. I said, that is it. I was just positive. I said, okay, I'm going to go for this show. So, but I sat close to a lady who I didn't know was my link to the whole thing that I'm doing today. Her name is Ndidi. I don't know if she's watching this. Ndidi Zilo Ndidi. So I sat close to this lady, and we started talking about, what we want to do in life. And I said, I want to be an actor. I want to act. I want to do that. I didn't know that I was actually selling myself, selling my dream. It happens that when we were done shooting the the talk show, they then ushered us to where we would have reception. Have a refreshment. This lady just went about, because she's been coming for the program. I was coming for the first time for that recording. So she already had some kind of a relationship with the producers and all that. So this lady who I sat with just told this man about my dream, or told rather the cameraman, sorry, because Ike can be watching this. She told the cameraman, who went on to tell his boss, and that was how the man said, okay. He came to me and said, okay, they say you want to act. I said, yes. He said, but what I normally shoot for now is Yoruba films. I don't know whether you speak Yoruba. I said, well, I do, and I speak fluent Yoruba. He said, okay, prove to me that I said, but I can't just be reeling out Yoruba words. You have to converse with me. So he now conversed with me in Yoruba, and he now said, are you sure you're an Igbo person? This your Yoruba is
strong.
So he now said, you have a role in my movie. I'm shooting next week. He took a picture and gave me an address, and that was how I started my acting. So we went to Ogun State and started the whole thing. But my first movie, my first acting experience was a Yoruba movie, and that was how I started off.
So you went for the shoot first time as an actor for the first time in a Yoruba set. How did you survive that? How did you know the right things to do, and what are the mistakes you made on that set?
My leeway into that job was because I spoke Yoruba to the producer.
Okay.
But I didn't have any acting experience. I just had passion, and passion does not equal knowledge. So I was invited to that set. I'll take you through this. So I got to that set with all the zest in me and all of that. I traveled all the way from Lagos to Ogun State. I got away to be precise. So I got there. In fact, I got there ahead of every other person. So I got there quite early, sat at the gate. I know that the car was passed through here. So that was where I was. I didn't leave that that gate because I know that, so that they won't leave me and shoot this thing. So I just had passion. I'm a stickler for knowledge. I'm somebody who loves knowledge a lot. I've always loved knowledge. So, but when we started, I was just goofing here and there, So the man was like, but you just know that this guy has this thing in there. In fact, kudos to Mr. Deji Adenuga, if you're watching this, and Yemi Adenuga, the wife. They were patient enough with me to just put me through.
What about the actors we were working with on set? Were they also patient, knowing that these actors were big at that time?
Graciously, they were. And I did about 5-6 scenes, and they said it was good.
Now, speaking of, there's this thing you just spoke about, the Yoruba side of Nollywood and the English side. So there's this thing I don't understand, and that is why I'm asking you. In Nigeria, let me not use the word Nollywood, there's this thing where they say Yoruba actors, Asaba actors, and should I say cinema actors? And I wonder how they classify it.
The truth of the matter is that just start your journey. All those classifications, most of these are mental wars that people are fighting.
It's there. Not even in the mind of the actors this time around. I mean, in the audience.
Yes.
Audience see people and say, okay, this is an Asaba actor.
Yes.
Like, he doesn't maybe amount to anything.
Let me tell you one interesting thing here. That's why I say just start your journey. Now, those Asaba actors with all the Asaba movies that people are they not on major? Let me not mention names.
Do you think it was hard for them to cross over to the cinema films?
The point is, start your journey. Do whatever you can do where you are.
So you didn't study theater arts. You didn't go to an acting school, but yet you're an actor.
I've not gone to any.
So, do you think that acting is a natural talent or a skill?
First and foremost, there has to be that gift, that talent, that inborn thing about that thing you want to do. When you have a gift, if you have a talent, you still need to nurture that. You still need to even lace that with knowledge. Somebody who wants to be a boxer, you know how to do street fights, but now you want to go into professional boxing. If you don't learn the art of pugilism, if you enter, they will just beat you, give you, and because you know how to guide. Because it's not just about giving the hitting somebody. You have to know how to protect your your own, do you understand? They teach you. So you have to have the gift, you have to have the talent, but you can learn. Do you understand? You can learn. But there's this thing that you having that talent, gift, and all that. Because really, again, okay, let me say this. It is not as though all those who have it as gift or whatever, they are doing well. Or they do well, when they pick up that thing as a career.
And you be as good
yes,
as
you can. Well, my belief is, if they tell you to do something, deliver.
Welcome back. Let's come to the monetary aspect of this industry. Yeah. You started in an era where there was no money, where people just come on set to just act because they love acting. Like you actually talked about how you began your journey. Just passion. Sometimes they might even end up not even paying the actors, and they're like, oh, they are showing me on NCA, or my face is going to be. Yeah, so now a lot of people are saying, especially the oldies in the industry, they're saying that these new youngsters, we the youngsters, we come into the industry for the glam, the fame, and the money, as opposed to the passion, that the burning passion that they came in with. How do we balance this thing? Passion and going into acting for the money.
They go together.
Okay.
Because even if you have all the passion and show your passion and you're not paid, you'll be able to come for the next recording and all that.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, like what you talked about, the other day I was talking with someone, I said, there was a time we had pager. You remember pager?
No.
So there was a device, they send you a message, it comes in. There are epochs, there are eras, so people in those days, there was no money because even the producers then were working with what they had.
True.
Yeah, I mean, they were just working. And I look back and I say, look, it's a journey. So the point is, if they didn't work with what they had then, we won't have what we have today.
True. So we have seen actors, fly, live comfortable lives, buy good cars, buy houses and all. But this is 2021. Do you think that actors in Nollywood are being paid what they deserve?
Well, deserved is a word that is relative because the industry is evolving. So like we know that there's what is called potential. You understand? So the industry has a potential that it hasn't even scratched. Like now, we just talked about here how years ago we were not. That's why people like Zakoji, for instance, who he's been there all this while. When in those days, when you know, so the kind of money they pay Zakoji today, he'll be saying, thank God I stayed. In the sense that he stuck to the thing and all that. You have to understand that art is you can't pay someone for art is priceless. Creativity is priceless. Do you understand? So whatever you pay somebody is a token compared to what the person should be earning. So you can't say they are being paid what they deserve. I mean, there's still much more that can be done.
You mentioned that earlier in your career you are just passionate about acting, and when you went on your first set, you fumbled. You made a lot of mistakes. So over the years, what have you learned so far? And how did you take yourself from that place where you didn't know so much about the industry to now that you're a professional?
Okay, so something that I had a mentality, being an academic, somebody who went to school. So I know there's this thing that knowledge does for you in whatever you do. So when I got into the industry with passion and all that, but I saw that I was not. Then I also would go for auditions, and I would say that a lot of people had that issue too. They had passion, but little things, and so, but for me, I did mostly just researching on my own, just researching, looking for books, going on just on my own, just personal adventure of research and all that. Then of course you go to auditions, like I said, you watch people who know how to do this thing. So that knowledge challenge that I had initially, yes, I had zeal. They say zeal without knowledge, you won't do much. So I did something. I was reading, I was researching. All of that began to reflect in what I was dishing out eventually. Do you understand? Yeah. So, and I began to say that, because I also know a lot of people who go through that. I said, okay. And because I'm somebody who is, I love to read. I love to research. Just started thinking that if I have a book, because there's something about just contributing on another level, to help other people. So if you have a book that people can glean, information from, get because fact of the matter is that I know some people who say, oh, watch the film and say, I can act. And if at least this food part, let them give me this food, I'll be eating this drink.
Yeah.
But it's beyond just the food and the drink.
Yes, it is.
Because there is an art.
Yes.
There are techniques to, for instance, you want to cry. Now,
there's a technique to crying.
Yeah, because I know somebody said, but nothing happened to me. How will I cry? So that's why there's a technique to crying.
Wow.
Then let me tell you something that's so interesting. There was time we went for an audition. It was a Zebe jury audition. So one guy, we are about 3 people, we were reading a script. So the guy, so as we were reading those lines, so one of us needed to laugh, laugh out loud and all that. So the guy was laughing, and the laughter was very fake. Do you understand? So and I told him, is this the way you laugh naturally? He said, no, I should be the act. I said, eh. Now, acting is actually being natural with this thing. We're not before the panelists, so we're just, and that's why when I began to know that I can write this, because I told him, no, you're not laughing natural. It's not natural. It's forced. It's mechanical, what we call mechanical. So I said, if you do this, because why I was so this is that if he messes up, he can even affect every one of us. So I'm like, look, no, let's help ourselves here. Yeah, this your laughter is like cartoon. You're like a cartoon character. So he started laughing so I explained to him. And I told him how to laugh. So you are talking. And I told him how to laugh naturally. Now, when I gave it, was like,
So how did you get that knowledge? How did you know the techniques since you didn't go for acting school?
I researched. I just keep reading up and researching because again, you know that there are terminologies for things. So you can know something, but you don't know the term or what they call that thing. Most times you are doing that thing, but you don't know what they call it in terms of the terminology or what they call jargon and all that. So it is when you begin to read that you know, okay, this thing that I do when I act, this is what they call it. Like now, you say empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is simply when you're acting. You're watching a movie. You know, there are times you watch a movie and you begin to cry. There's a character that is really pained, going through tragedy and all that. You are watching, you begin to cry. But you know that this thing is a movie. Why were you crying? It's called empathy, empathic flow. Why it shows that that person acted that into the point where it's believable. So it connects to you, your emotions. Now, there are some people that will act, you just say, this one is acting. Because it's not real. As in, the emotions are not really, they're not flowing well. So in the course of my own reading and all that, what I gathered became what I put into this book. Then of course, personal, there's something about hands-on experience, practical experiences of what you've seen and all that. You saw.
I'm sure there's a lot to learn in this Nollywood acting book. And what I love about this book is that it says Nollywood. So it's made for Nigerians. It's
intentional.
And for
Nollywood,
yes.
It's intentional.
So guys, we still have Mr. Ike Okoro in the studio. After this break, we'll come back for some games. Welcome back. This is still The Guest. My name is Ahina Atta, and we have Mr. Ike Okoro in the studio. So we are about to play this game. So easy. So we are going to play a snippet from a movie. You're going to guess the name of the movie and possibly the producer of the film or the director.
Let's go.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's see our first movie.
Okay.
You can play it.
Okay, I think this is Igodo.
Okay.
Igodo, yes.
Can you tell us the name of the producer or the director?
OJ Productions. Yes. OJ Productions. Yes, I'm sure of that.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next film. That was correct. Is this the next film? Okay. That was correct. This is the next film.
This looks like Silent Night, the movie,
Wow!
and by Chikwe Jiro.
That is
this
correct.
is Black Arrow in the movie.
That is correct.
Yes,
This is Black Arrow.
Yes,
Very correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next movie. Ooh. So our final film. Let's see if you will get this correctly.
Let me try. Wait. This looks like Domitila.
That is correct.
Yeah, my knowledge.
That is very correct. That That is very correct.
That's it.
Nice.
And it was by Zebejiro.
Nice,
Of
nice
course.
one,
Zebejiro.
nice one,
Yeah,
nice one,
yeah.
nice one, nice one. It was really nice having you here in our studios with us. We had a very great conversation.
Thank you.
And for every Nollywood actor aspiring and practicing, you need to get this book. There is a lot you will learn from this book. My name is Ahine Ato. It was really nice having Mr. Ike Okoro right here in our studios.
Thank you.
I hope you had a swell time. This is AFOREVO The Guest. I'll see you next time.